Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Keegan. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to hit that subscribe button and put your opinions down there in the comment section. Chance the Rapper. The Big Day. Chance the Rapper is a Chicago rapper, singer, and songwriter who's been fairly beloved in the rap scene despite this being his debut album. He has released 3 mixtapes in his career which gained him huge, widespread attention, those being 10 Day, Acid Rap, and Coloring Book, which have all gained him incredible amounts of popularity. None of his singles that he released last year made this album, which already made me kind of wary, considering I thought a good majority of those singles were actually fairly good. In fact, there were literally no singles prior to this album's release. None. This album is a bloated 22 songs spanning nearly 80 minutes of Chance, which is a lot to take in of really any rapper. So immediately I was very worried going into this, but after listening to this album a few times, it's really not as bad as everyone says it is. The biggest problem with this album, and don't get me wrong, it's a major problem, is just how corny a good majority of these lyrics are, and also just plain stupid. It already starts on the very first track, All Day Long with John Legend. The first verse alone features dumb lines like this, and I could go on all day, but for the sake of not making this video too long, I'll spare the explanations. That, in my opinion, is really the only horrible part of the song is the lyrics. Chance provides some nice energy on his vocals, and the instrumental has this groovy Michael Jackson-esque instrumental, which is fun. John Legend's vocals on the hook are fantastic and tied together the verses in a fun knot. Overall, I really don't hate this song that much. It's extremely playful and fun, and despite the obvious lyrical flaws, it's actually a pretty fitting opener. Do You Remember features Ben Gibbard of Death Cab for Cutie fame, which is a very odd collaboration in my eyes, but Ben's got this wonderfully sung and surprisingly emotional hook. Lyrically, the song isn't actually half bad, mainly being about reminiscing about the summers, good times, and simpler times. The soothing, dreamy instrumental give this song a wonderfully euphoric vibe, and it's very laid back, calm, and I really enjoyed this song as well. Eternal, the Smino, gets us into the main topic of this album, and I'm sure you can already guess by the title. It's marriage. Chance croons over this funky beat about, oh, side men can't dance like me, cook like me, and also how side chicks can't pull out splinters. And this is another lyrically weak song, but as previously mentioned, the production is fantastic. And while Chance doesn't give as much energy as he did on the opener, his flow is very relaxed and natural. Smino seems a little bit off on this instrumental, almost like the production needs to be pitched up just a touch to match his monotone delivery, but overall it's a fine song. Now we get into Hot Shower, which is essentially the biggest meme this album could have pulled out of its ass. The song is his braggadocious trap banger, as per usual, but the main problem of this song is this song features some of the worst lyrics Chance has ever written. And just look at these examples. I mean, Chance puts on this weird tone to his voice occasionally on this song. And the production really doesn't even save it that much either, as it's just the normal skittering trap beat. Made in Tokyo does his thing on the song, but DaBaby absolutely kills it and essentially saves the song. His flow on his verse is absolutely fantastic. Despite it being a pretty bad song, it has grown on me with repeated listens, but in the track list, it's still one of my least favorites. We Go High is yet another song dedicated to his marriage. This one is probably the most boring song so far on the track list, and still has corny lyrics like these. I know the song is meant to sound confessional, like he's dedicating the song to his wife, but wouldn't some strings do that better than a programmed drum? His flow is generic, previously mentioned lyrics are corny, and I can't see this song working as it's intended. I Got You Always and Forever is about, just take a guess. This is what We Go High should have been, minus the female features of course. The song just feels way more alive in comparison. I love Ari Lennox on the chorus. She sounds great, and Chance has a wonderful flow on both verses, despite a few lyrical mishaps. I'm honestly a sucker for this song. It fits well with the album's theme, and it's just fun overall. Before I continue with this album, I would just like to point out that all 3 of the skits are fine. They work with the album, if not a little bit corny, but I just think they're fine overall. Rue with Coco Rosie and Chance's brother Taylor is weirdly ballad-esque and confessional, but it kind of works with the context of this album, where Chance and Taylor are reminiscing about the bond they have and that's how their father raised them. It's nice, it's sweet, and not impossible to listen to when it comes to lyrics. Production is kind of lacking for a song like this, but it makes sense overall and it's fine. The title track, The Big Day with Francis and the Lights, is kind of an acoustic banger. The bass is heavy on this one and is fairly lyrically empty. Chance has a beautiful voice on the chorus, and it could have been great as an interlude by itself. But in my opinion, the verse completely kills any mood the song had, with Francis yelling "fuck it" over and over again, almost adding this hidden message that Chance doesn't want the marriage to happen. It's fine, but probably not something I'll return to. Let's Go on the Run is yet again another song about marriage. This time seeming like a honeymoon song, and only with a few more lyrical problems. Knox Fortune on the verse sounds nice, but I think Chance provides a little too much energy on his verses over this piano, clap-assisted instrumental. I do like his chorus aside from the falsetto. It really does sound like an emotional message to his wife. His tone suddenly changes on the fourth verse into this depressed, monotone, and surprisingly quiet vocal delivery, and it kind of wrecks the vibe the song was going for. The song isn't something I'd revisit in full. Handsome with Megan Thee Stallion is one of the best songs in a while. The song lyrically is this anthem where they admire themselves along with the people around them. The instrumental is fairly low and bass heavy, and Megan's verse is very nice. Chance's chorus is monotone when he's talking about himself, but he gains energy when talking about the girl, which makes sense and is actually kind of admirable. Big Fish with Gucci Mane is this braggish, reminiscing hybrid song where the concept living as a big fish in a small pond. Gucci's verse is more bragging, but he always sounds good over this darker, bass-heavy instrumental, and his flow is pretty nice as well. Chance sounds out of place on this song, even having a few lyrical problems like these. It's middle of the road for me. It's not my favorite, but nothing to bash either. Ballin' Flossin featuring Shawn Mendes of all people gives me similar vibes to the opener, in how it's funky, it's playful, and very fun. I can absolutely see this a fantastic song playing in like a club or like a party setting. Lyrically, the song is quite mediocre, and we're seriously mentioning the peanut butter jelly time meme in 2019. Why? Sean's chorus couldn't have been better suited towards him. Both artists make this song an incredible moment on the album, and may actually be one of my favorite songs on it. 5 Year Plan features Randy Newman, of all people. I swear his collab choices make no sense to me sometimes. Regardless, this is a pretty introspective cut where Chance reflects on his Xanax addiction, future goals, and aspirations. It's a very welcome change-up on the album. This beautifully laid-back instrumental makes the song feel extremely sincere, and almost has a spiritual vibe to it. While Randy Newman doesn't have much of a feature on here, his vocals are still fantastic, and almost sounds like the voice of a conscience in my head. Get a Bag with Callboy is easily the most filler song on the album so far, and one of the most boring songs as well, despite Chance seeming like he's really giving it his all on the hook. Lyrically, the song is just as disastrous as usual. This is probably the worst song on the album for me, and Callboy's feature really adds next to nothing, and his mixing sounds horrible, almost like he was recording his verse like 6 feet away from the mic. It's just not a good song. Slide Around with Lil Durk and Nicki Minaj is less filler, I guess. Chance's verse is fine, and he varies up his flow quite a bit, but I don't get the same energy from him that was present on the previous songs to make his verse seem fun or enjoyable. However, I did really enjoy Nicki's verse. Her dominant-sounding delivery works over the stripped-back instrumental, makes it sound like she's hunting other rappers, which is the tone that I absolutely love out of Nicki. Lil Durk does his thing, I suppose. The first half of his verse sounds like some older, bad young thug, but I really enjoy him on his second half. He's got a nice catchy flow, and brings more energy than Chance did. This is another case of the features saving the song. Sun Come Down is this pretty heavy song about reflecting on his life, and what will happen after the sun sets on it. Basically what will happen when he's gone. He simply asks people to respect what he did and not twist the words as the media wants. It's pretty emotional, and I'm happy there's no feature to ruin the song. Chance handles it great by himself, and adds this emotional tone with his voice that complements the lyrics well. It's one of the deeper cuts on this album. Found a Good One, Single No More is fine, and I'm already sure you can guess what the topic is. Out of all the songs dedicated to his wife, though, this one is probably the one that does the least for me. While the instrumental is fun and sounds like it was ripped straight out of the 80s, and the features are nice as well, Chance's lyrics do not set a good mood, especially on the second verse, where he actually says 1,000 degrees instead of 1,000 degrees. He also talks about popping perks with his wife, which contradicts 5 Year Plan entirely, where he talks about his addiction to drugs and how he doesn't want to go back to that. I don't know, it's just a messy song. Town on a Hill is this very laid-back, almost crooning song about how he gives thanks to his family and God. I absolutely love this laid-back R&B inspired synth melody, and Chance's singing voice is lovely as well, almost like he's singing directly to his wife, which I don't mind as much as I normally would. This would have been a fantastic closer, but unfortunately it wasn't. Zanies and Fools with Darius Scott and Nicki Minaj is the final song, and I think that if this and Town on a Hill was switched, the formation of the closing parts of this album would be perfect. Regardless, it's a fairly sweet and way too long in my opinion closer. Nicki Minaj is nice over this instrumental, but just sounds off in the overall concept of this being the closer to the big day. I would assume Chance would handle the outro himself, or at the very least a backup singer, but it's a fine song, just not really an appropriate closer in my opinion. Overall, Chance's debut album, in my opinion, is filled with more hits than misses, but the misses absolutely kill a lot of the mood that I know the song was meant to portray. He's overstuffed this album with features like a bad DJ Khaled album, some for the best, some for the worst, but I don't think it's as bad as many other critics claim it is. I'm feeling about maybe a 6 out of 10 on this album. Well guys, hope you enjoyed that review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.